Clicking on this video and seeing my face staring blankly into the camera, your first response was probably a combination of annoyance and disgust, and for good reason, you know. According to most people who frequent this site, with the advent of TikTok, YouTube has degenerated into an extension of every other social media platform where 14-year-old girls congregate to dance to bad music and 14-year-old boys enact hair mating dances for all of them. I don't mean to trigger your, TikTok days PTSD, but I can't help it if I do. All YouTube watchers want is a return to normalcy. And while the average YouTube watcher is also looking back with nostalgia on the 1950s, when, instead of women dancing being annoying, it was them working and voicing their opinions that was looked down upon, I do sympathize with them in this situation. Most TikTok stars are, pretty objectively devoid of talent. They spend most of their screen time trying to look hot, which would make them like models if they weren't the most basic-looking rich white people on Earth. Yet with these, seemingly obvious flaws, seemingly acknowledged by seemingly everyone, why was it that TikTokers dominated the streaming awards? To understand why they're so appealing, we need to look at the history of entertaining in general, but don't worry, I'll skip past the boring 200,000 years of incredible art, music, and literature, and get straight to the pretty moving pictures that gave you cripplingly low self-esteem and body image. For the majority of the existence of video recording, film and television were the primary way of stories being told and overpriced snacks and merchandise being sold. Even though Hollywood is heading in the same direction as TikTok, scantily clad little girls filmed in black and white, so you can call it social commentary, it's still got like a fan base of millions of people, and it's placed itself on a pedestal of sorts, claiming that, while that might be popular, online videos just can't be on the same level as film and TV, right? With their massive teams of writers, editors, directors, and everyone else who works on film and TV, they just have to be better, right? As a longtime YouTube watcher, and more importantly, 2-month-long YouTuber, I'm mortified, terrified, and most importantly, in complete agreement. There's no competition between online entertainment and the professional stuff. For comedy, we have Sarah Cooper and they have Brooklyn Nine-Nine. For horror, we have Roblox Creepypasta and they have Jordan Peele. Hell, even for drama, which YouTubers pride themselves on, we have to deal with Keemstar and they get TMZ, which at least has the decency to make idiotic stories about actually attractive people and then make pictures of them. To be honest, the quality of YouTube videos is, by traditional standards, embarrassingly low, with overexposed lighting, bad scripted segments, and even worse improv, and lazy editing. In writing classes, they always tell you, show don't tell to express something. That's why I'm doing this right now. I'm, visually showing what a bad video looks like, so that way you understand it better. Yet, somehow, obviously, if you're watching this video, people still enjoy YouTube, with many having it as their main source of entertainment. If it's not just used to occupy the times when you're too unfocused to start a TV show and too stressed out to read a book, then YouTube must have some kind of actual appeal, right? The standard formula for YouTubers now is, in one way or another, being quirky and relatable. By that I mean, regardless of whatever interesting trait they may have, their main thing is that they're relatable to a lot of different people. And looking at successful YouTubers now, it's easy to see who they're trying to be relatable to. Considering that the standard YouTube content usually revolves around gaming, screaming, or better yet, screaming while gaming, it's fair to assume that the content is generally targeted at young people. Guys, I'm guessing. And even though these channels are objectively worse than any mainstream Hollywood production, maybe not any, the internet was smart enough to realize that no one watches 50 Shades of Grey for the plot, we still watch YouTube. I still watch YouTube, and usually enjoy it just as much as any given TV show. Now, some of that could be due to the fact that most YouTubers are either pretty funny, or work with a ridiculously high budget, deciding that buying their friend a 10th Tesla is a better use of money than, professional lighting and mixing and editing. But I think it's more than that. Or less than that, depending on your perspective. If people just wanted comedy, they'd watch talk shows, and if they wanted impressive stunts, they'd watch Game of Thrones. And we all know YouTube viewers' opinions of Jimmy Fallon clips. I think that, because of the way YouTube is made, it doesn't reward high-budget, or rather high-budget-looking content, but instead boosts videos that seem to really let you get to know a real individual person. Now, the YouTube executives wish this weren't the case. They basically auction away spots on trending, and prefer lucrative deals with movie studios and music labels over anything else. If Belle Delphine mentioned hardcore porn, she'd be, banned off the site, and if Cardi B actually posted some on YouTube, Susan Wojcicki would be like, "Cardi, what is this?" Why didn't I get a sneak peek first? But as much as the management tries to forget it, YouTube started off as a platform unique for its availability to anyone. There wasn't any fee, no barrier to entry. Anyone could make an account and talk about whatever they wanted. The original YouTubers were successful because, regardless of what their genre was, they were genuinely likable people who gave people little snippets into their actual lives. Every decently sized website has its own culture. Facebook has crappy minion memes, Reddit has men of culture and kind strangers, Parler has fascists, and YouTube has a subtle but definitely present contempt for mainstream depersonalized content. This might partially be a reaction to how condescending most mainstream entertainment-making people are, thinking that it's under them to even watch a YouTube video, let alone try to understand why so many people love it. But once again, I think it's more than that. As long as recorded video has been something that people like to watch, it's been getting more and more complicated, and this is generally considered a good thing. Editing has gotten more fast-paced and stylized. Lighting and sound mixing have become their entire own fields to optimize to improve the viewing experience. And A-list actors, generally, have to be able to portray, any kind of role. Even action movies that are basically just excuses to show cleavage make sure to film it in 32K and cross-cut between the breasts and the underskirt shots. Hyper-stylization and professionalism have become the hallmark of successful film and TV. And up until the era of the internet, this was never questioned because it worked. However, once platforms like YouTube were opened up, where anyone could post videos about anything, people realized that they liked these lo-fi, relaxed, even sloppy videos more than multi-million-dollar productions. In the end, I don't think the rise of YouTube was caused by a shift in what people wanted, but in media companies realizing what viewers had always wanted in the first place. Technology was advanced to make stories, and the way they're told, more complex. But people never actually wanted complex stories. They just wanted a friend. Being lonely isn't a testament to edginess or depression, no matter how much Billie Eilish you listen to. It's just a part of life. We can all understand this right now during the pandemic, but even before that, there have always been times where we couldn't or wouldn't talk to a friend about something, but we just needed someone to understand. That's what YouTubers are. These are people who have succeeded massively in life, or are really good at pretending so, yet for all of their success are just like you and me. The relationship between a YouTuber and disgusting inferior beings is inimitable. The viewer gets to watch someone who, through the power of multiple takes and editing, is super relatable and interesting without any negative traits or the downsides of being someone you actually know. When the creator fights to succeed on a platform, the viewer gets to feel like they're part of the battle. And when the creator hopefully succeeds, the viewer gets to feel like they were, at least just a little bit, a friend on the journey. See, when YouTubers tell you to smash like and subscribe, it's really for your sake. But really, we get to all have the joy of watching a friend follow their dreams, project ourselves onto that person and feel better about our own lives, and ignore all the bad stuff because on a good YouTube channel, there won't be any. Drama is just tension, controversy is just a character arc, and if the channel dies out, well, there's always someone else to get attached to. From my description, this might sound kinda gross, with the love you feel for your favorite YouTubers being a ploy for views, constructed through editing and purposefully lazy content. But while the methods might be artificial, the end result is actually pretty wholesome. There's no way to know for sure, but I like to think that the YouTubers I watch are pleasant, intelligent, and relatable in real life too, even if not to the extent that their online personas would suggest. Except for me, of course. I'm completely authentic. This video doesn't just look rushed and badly made because I'm trying to be quirky. I actually just don't know how to make YouTube videos. Please someone help me. And keeping this in mind, watching a good YouTuber can be really reassuring. They represent all of our best qualities with none of the bad stuff visible, and no matter how bad whatever I'm going through is, seeing this person who's gone through the same thing, albeit with millions of dollars in validation seeping out of their pores, and come out better is amazing. That's why I like YouTube. It might be really convoluted, but in the end, it's just a way to find people like you who make you happy. So Tinder, if the relationship's actually worked out. The only problem with this seemingly perfect formula of content is when the message the YouTubers are promoting isn't so wholesome. Someone like Jake Paul, whose channel was definitely targeted at people my age and, let's be honest, a lot younger, definitely shifted his viewer base in a bad direction. It started off with normalizing really sexual content for 9-year-olds, and as he's progressed, he's started to reveal what he actually is. A COVID disbeliever, a douchebag, and probably a felon. Sure, seeing a YouTuber you like blow up and be able to afford crazy, expensive luxury goods can be exciting. But when their entire persona starts revolving around dissing on people who don't have millions of dollars of unearned money, they don't really feel like your friend anymore. So this brings us to TikTok, which kind of complicates the situation I mentioned, because if so many people hate the site, why is it still so popular? To be fair, when most people on YouTube say that they hate TikTok, they mean that they hate pretty teen girls dancing to Doja Cat in their bedrooms. If you write off an entire site, you probably haven't looked too deeply into it, because there is absolutely funny content on TikTok if you try just even a little bit to find it. Moreover, YouTube stans who hate off their websites might just be bitter that another platform might become bigger than theirs, But again, I don't want to dismiss people's opinions offhand because it lets the video have a happy ending. You're on the wrong tube site if you want that. There must be a reason so many people hate TikTok, and I think it has to do with the app's audience. As I already mentioned, the TikTok content that usually gets dissed on is the mainstream stuff, so, hot girls doing dances to hour-old trap songs, e-boys having seizures staring at their mirrors. Based on the fact that 90% of the comments on these TikToks use emojis interchangeably with spaces, and that the sexy, scantily clad creators are definitely closeted minors, I'm guessing the answer is children. So degenerates. Specifically straight teen girls, because the male creators are thirsted over and the female ones are aggressively complimented. This isn't super surprising. Social media is predominantly kids, and TikTok, being short form, inherently pushes content that gets its point across pretty quickly and isn't very meaningful. This used to be in comedy in the style of Vine, but TikTokers have found an even better solution. Being a teen means being down on yourself most of the time, but in a way that's so boring and basic that telling anyone is pretty much pointless. Unless you're an actual model, you spend a lot of time hating your looks and thirsting over anyone with a vaguely symmetrical face. And I guess TikTokers have made girls their primary target because the e-boys provide the vicarious boyfriend, and the girls are the perfect blank slate for all your hopes and dreams. Hot, zero personality, and wildly successful from doing basically nothing. TikTok has found the same appeal of relatability that YouTube has, but it's made the process even easier. Why mess with plot and humor when people only care about your looks anyway? That's why the content of TikToks is so lazy. TikTok is blown up because it's removed video making to its laziest form, and people have realized that they don't actually care. By narrowing a lot of their appeal to mostly just teen girls, they've made content easier to make and more profitable than ever. And if this cuts out a large portion of the main YouTube audience, younger guys, they don't care. Once again, this isn't an inherently bad thing, unless the creators promote crappy ideas. But when content houses go out of their way to show their disdain for COVID and vaccines and science in general, they give their teen audiences an excuse to do the same. We live in a society. So, what's the moral of the story? Like most lessons, this one is long, unsatisfying, and probably pointless. YouTube thrives off of simple, personal videos. While I can't really fault a multi-billion-dollar corporation for making seemingly good financial decisions, I can be mad about the rising tide of boring professional content on this site. I guess YouTube needs to go back to its roots, even if those are just a guy talking to a camera in his room. Movies and TV aren't bad, but YouTube was created so we could find human connection on a cold, scary, predator-filled internet. And destroying that gets rid of the one thing that makes it special. Though the YouTube board does have a special love for pedophiles, so they'll probably be the last thing to go. And the Hollywood stars that replace our perverts will probably be just as bad, but not nearly as quirky. Selling out might be temporarily good business, but it won't end that way. YouTube is not great, and that's what makes it so good. And two, whether you like to admit it or not, these same arguments also apply to TikTok. You may not like the content on it, I really, really don't, but YouTube and TikTok both rely on letting someone escape into someone else's life, even if it's just for 10 minutes or 10 seconds. Even if some of the videos are bad, maybe they're just not made for you. I'd say a lot of TikToks are objectively bad, but that doesn't really matter. TikTok has changed the way internet content is made. You don't have to like it, you don't have to watch it, but you should probably accept it. Thank you for watching. This is the first video on this channel, so if you liked it, please tell me in the comments, and if you didn't, well, I do various different types of stuff, or at least I plan on it, so stick around, maybe you'll find something that you do like. Bye.